Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session of Physics Unveiled. In this particular session, we are going to study about projectile motion. But before actually jumping into the topic, I would like to explain some of the facts or revise some of the facts that we have studied in motion under gravity. So, you know that we have studied the equation of motion in constant acceleration, like x equal to ut plus half at square, v equal to u plus at, v square equal to u square plus 2ax. All these equations we have studied in one dimension, motion in one dimension. You may revise the previous session of us in constant acceleration, where v is the final velocity, u is initial velocity, a is acceleration of particle, or x is the displacement covered. Okay. Now, you know that in motion in one dimension, either the particle can travel in x direction or in y direction or in z directions. Okay, so there could be only one axis involved. Suppose we are just throwing a ball straight up with a velocity u, and suppose at point ball has reached to point P, where its velocity is supposed at v, and the displacement that is covered by ball suppose is h. So we may rewrite this equation like, suppose this is our frame of reference. This is the x equal to 0 coordinate, or the origin. This is our origin, and this is suppose positive direction, and this is the negative direction. So what are the things that are involved over here? The acceleration can be written as minus g. Okay, because acceleration is only acceleration due to gravity, and that is acting in negative direction of origin. Okay, so a is minus g. The displacement covered, the x is nothing but the plus h. The displacement covered is plus h. The initial and final velocity is given u equal to plus u and v equal to plus v. So again, if we rewrite the equation that we have stated over here, we may write it as h equal to ut minus half gt square. I have replaced a with minus g. V equal to u minus gt, and v square equal to u square minus 2gh. Okay, I've just rewritten this equation in this form, in the form of expression due to gravity. Now suppose the ball has reached to the point Q, and at this point the ball started returning down. Suppose यहाँ तक ये maximum height तक गया. Suppose this is the maximum height reached by the ball, h max. So what is the condition of maximum height reached? That at this point the velocity of ball will be 0. It can no longer can go upward, so it will be coming down. Now at maximum height, at h equal to h max, we may again rewrite the equations as v equal to 0, u equal to 0. Okay, yeah, sorry, u is plus u. Suppose time taken by ball to height is plus x is plus h max, and a is minus g. Okay, so if you just put it down, suppose in the third equation, equation number 3, so you can may write like 0 equal to u square minus 2g h max. So through this we can find the value of h max as u square by 2g. This is the height of, this is the formula for h max height, maximum height. Now suppose the ball at this point, what is the time? For example, if I just want to time taken by ball to reach maximum height, suppose, is t. So we may again use this equation. So v equal to 0, u minus g and t. So time is u by g. So total time of flight will be is twice of time. For example, this t time, in this t time, suppose that here to here it will take t time, then again it will take another t time to reach to ground. So total time of flight will be 2u by g. So this is again a formula. So actually we are not deriving out such formula. We are just using the equation of motion with constant acceleration and putting the value according to it. So you no need to remember all these things. You may remember it for your objective, but you need to understand the concept involved in it. The entire motion under gravity was the example of motion under constant acceleration, because we are neglecting the other factors like air resistance, wind velocity, etc. We are neglecting everything. We're just considering that the motion is happening in a vacuum. Okay, so you may use this formula easily. Just you have to fix the origin and you have even calculated. Okay, suppose the similar thing, if I just let me erase the entire content right here. Just giving you one more example so that suppose the same equation, if suppose that this is the tower, there is a tower from ground and the height of tower is h, and a person is throwing a ball at a speed u. Okay, we have to find out the equation of motion in this case. Suppose that at this point the velocity of ball is v. Okay, then find it out. Now in this case, x equal to, suppose this is the origin and this is the positive direction, then this will be the negative direction. Okay, so displacement covered in negative direction, so minus h. Okay, a equal to again minus g, because g is acting only in the vertical downward direction. Okay, a is minus g, u is minus u, and v is minus v. So you can put like minus v equal to minus u minus g and t. So ultimately it will be v equal to u plus gt. Okay. If I just put it down the value of h, so minus h equal to minus ut minus half gt square. So if I just remove the negative sign, it will be h equal to ut plus half gt square. For this condition, if I just write the velocity v square equal to u square minus 2g minus h, so it will be just v square equal to u square plus 2gh. Okay, so you're just putting the sign of velocity and sign of acceleration and displacement, and we are getting the equation of motion. Okay, so far we have read all these concepts in our one dimension. So if you have not studied so far, if you have not seen our video so far, I request you to go and watch those videos. Okay, so let me try to give you another snippet. Okay, before you actually jumping into the topic. I hope you're finding it easy. So let me rub it and then I come back. So what you have seen in our motion in one dimension, we have seen that in motion in one dimension, the object is thrown vertically upward or vertically downward. So if this is the direction of velocity, and if this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis, suppose this is origin, this is the x-axis, then the angle made by the velocity with the ground is 90 degree. Okay. Now, what if we just throw the ball in this direction? The velocity is inclined at an angle theta with x-axis. In this case, what will happen? So in this case, if you see, velocity is a vector quantity, so you can resolve this into the component. And then component of velocity of u in the x direction will be, suppose 0, this is a, this is b. So OB equal to OA cos theta from trigonometry, from vector resolution. So u cos theta we may write. So this is the component of velocity in x direction. Similarly, AB equal to OA sin theta. So this is the velocity in y direction. So when you are throwing an object at an angle, you have to divide the component of velocity vector. In this case, if you just replicate the same in this direction, ux equal to v cos 90. So that will be 0, and ey equal to v sin 90. So that will be v. So this is the motion. This is the one dimension. Whereas in this case, we are getting two components of velocity, so it will be a two-dimension motion. So ball will go, if I just throwing a ball in this direction, it will go like this. Okay. Now you can see the value of x and y is changing at every point. This is the maximum height involved. Okay. So let us try to understand this in one more time through a animation. You can see if I just reducing the height and if I'm just throwing the ball at 0 degree, so the ball will go straight in this direction and x direction. If I'm just increasing the angle to the 90 degree, the ball will go in vertically upward direction, as I have shown in last worksheet. Now, if I'm just keeping the angle in between 0 and 90 degrees, suppose I'm just keeping the angle at 40 degree, and the ball is thrown at a velocity of 30 meters per second. So in this direction, you can see that there will be an x component involved. There will be an x component involved, and there will be a y component involved, right? So ball will cover both in x and y direction. So this is the difference between the motion in one dimension of motion under gravity and projectile motion. So from here, whenever we are just throwing the ball in an angle between 0 degree to 90 degree, it will be covering under the two-dimensional motion, and motion under gravity will be called as projectile motion. Clear? So what we said? So motion in one dimension is a subset of projectile motion. A motion in one dimension under gravity. Okay, to be precise. Here, angle of projection is, in this case, angle of projection is 90 degree. In this case, angle of projection is in between 0 to 90. Angle of projection. So let us try to break it one more time. Okay, in a separate. Let me clear this whiteboard. So you can see in this diagram, I am just throwing a ball with a velocity of u at an angle theta, which is respect to x-axis, and the ball has reached to some point P, where you can see the coordinate of this point P is x and y. This is origin. The coordinate is 0, 0, and ball has gone to the maximum distance at, suppose that r. Then this r is called the range of the ball. Okay, so at this point, suppose at this point the coordinate of a will be r and 0, because there is no height involved, only the horizontal distance is involved. So if you just break down the velocity and the acceleration in x and y direction, because it's a motion in two dimension, then you may write that ux is equal to u cos theta and uy equal to u sin theta. There is no component of acceleration is acting in the x direction, so it's 0. Acceleration in the y direction is minus g, because it is also an example of motion under gravity. So on the basis of this, we may write two equations like x equal to ux t plus half ax t square. This is the x is the displacement covered by ball in x direction. So if I just put it down, so x equal to, we may write as u cos theta into t plus half into 0 into t square. Okay, so x equal to, we may write as u cos theta into t. Okay, and if we just write the same in for the y directions, then y equal to uyt plus half ay t square. So we may write as u sin theta t plus half minus g t square. So we may write as y sin theta t minus half gt square. So we got the value of x and y. Okay, so this x and this y, we may write it like this. So this is the xy coordinate of point P. Suppose this is the time of event t equal to 0. Here the ball has reached at t equal to t. Okay, so if you just suppose if somebody asking me find the range, so at x equal to r, y equal to 0, right? If the ball is just reaching at this point, the y equal to 0. So suppose ball has taken t equal to t to reach a. So we may write 0 equal to y sin theta into t minus half gt square. So we may write as t equal to nothing but 2u sin theta by g. So this is the time of flight. Okay. Now, if I just want to find out that what is the distance, this distance. So x equal to r. At x equal to r equal to, may write as u cos theta into t. So we may write as u cos theta into 2u sin theta by g. So this is the formula we came, that 2u sin theta cos theta 2u square sin theta cos theta by g. So this is the formula for range. This is range. Now let us try to understand one more thing over here. What is the equation between y and x? Okay, relations between. So what we have found, what we are trying to find out now, the equation between y, relation between y and x. If you see that, we may write t equal to x by u cos theta from this. So if you just put this value in this equation, put here. So we may write y u sin theta x by u cos theta minus half g x square by u square cos square theta, right? So we may write as x tan theta minus half g x square by u square cos square theta. This is the equation between, relation between project. This is the projectile motion equations. Okay, so if we just if theta is constant for an angular projection is constant, then we may write as like y equal to ax minus this entire component is constant only, bx square. So this is the equation of quadratic equation of projectile motion. Okay, general, where a and b are nothing but a is what? A is here tan theta, and b is the entire g is by 2u square cos square theta. Okay. Now let us try to observe the projectile motion in animation. Now let us see this animation. We'll try to understand the motion, projectile motion. Suppose that the velocity component of projectile in x direction is 20 and velocity component of y direction is 20, and acceleration due to gravity is 9.8, and the angle of projection that I have kept is a 45 degree. So let's see how it goes. Okay. Suppose, see, the component of velocity in the x direction is remaining constant, but the component of y direction is gradually decreasing. The length of arrow is decreasing. Now, when the ball is reaching at a maximum height, suppose this is the ball reaching at the maximum height. At this particular point, you can see only there is no component of y velocity is there. There is only a component of x velocity. Okay, so at maximum height, the velocity component of y direction will be almost 0. So ball will be just moving in the x direction. Now let's move it forward. Now as it's past the x direction, as it's past the maximum height, again there will be an increase in the velocity of y direction. Okay, because now gravity will be pulling the ball, but still the component of x direction is constant. So in this entire thing, suppose, okay, let's resume it, reset. In the entire thing, you can see the component of x direction is always remains constant because the acceleration due to gravity is only acting perpendicular to the velocity. And when we know that when the acceleration is perpendicular to the velocity, there is no change in the speed, but the component of y direction is constantly increasing. So in this is in velocity, so in projectile motion, it is very much obvious that if you are asked a different kind of question, that how velocity of y component is changing, how velocity of x direction is changing. So this graph will help, this particular animation will help you to understand the entire concept neatly. Okay. So let's go back to the numerical again, the derivation part. So let us write the component of velocity in one more time. Like suppose that u cos theta, this is u sin theta. So we may write ux equal to u cos theta, uy equal to u sin theta, ax equal to 0, ay is nothing but minus g because it is motion by gravity only. So we may write the final velocity of y direction at any moment of time as vy equal to uy minus ayt, sorry, plus ayt. So vy equal to uy is u sin theta, ay is minus g, and this is t. So this is u sin theta minus gt. So you see, as time progresses from here to here, the velocity will be keep on decreasing. But the moment it passed here, suppose the particle has reached here. In this case, this is the direction of x direction. This is velocity in overall, and this is the y direction. So in this case, after a certain time, after that the ball has passed the maximum height, again the velocity will be start increasing because it will be g, and the final velocity will be in the same direction. Okay. So what you can see, we can see the x component of projectile motion, x component of velocity in projectile motion, u cos theta remains constant, whereas velocity in y direction varies with time. Clear? So what we have, what formula we have achieved so far? Time, the total time of flight is 2u sin theta by g. For range, we have obtained 2u square sin theta cos theta by g. for maximum height, we may write u square sine square theta by 2g. So if you just want to find it out, the maximum height, you can easily find it out. At maximum height, what we are obtaining? We are obtaining the only the final velocity of the Vy component is 0, right? So Vy component is 0, so you may derive like this: V square equal to u square minus 2gh, or suppose 2ah for the time being, h max. So V is 0. This is u square sine square theta minus 2g h max. So we may write h max is nothing but u square sine square theta by 2g, which we have written here. So these are the formula that you should keep it handy. And the last one is this one. So with this, we have finished the concept of the projectile motion. So let's go to our graph one more time. And I think now we'll feel no problem in understanding the concept of projectile motion. You can solve it very easily. Let's try to see one more thing of projectile motion, that is projectile motion in inclined plane. I'll not be deriving the entire thing. I'll just be giving you the breakup of the components. Okay. So as we said that we'll be just discussing the component part in the inclined motion. Suppose this is an inclined plane. This is an inclined plane having an angle of inclination theta, and suppose we are throwing a ball from here at an angle alpha. The ball will, suppose they are falling uphill at this point P. Suppose this is our x-axis, this is the y-axis. So again, we may write velocity component in x direction as u cos alpha, u cos alpha. Velocity component in y direction is u sin alpha. Now you see the acceleration. The acceleration due to gravity is in this direction. Suppose we are drawing it separately. Okay, acceleration due to gravity in this direction, g. So we may break it up. Suppose this is the theta angle, and this is 90 minus theta. So there will be this is a g, this is g cos theta, and this is g sin theta. You can break up using the trigonometrical rule. So acceleration in x direction is nothing but, suppose, minus g sin theta, and acceleration in y direction is minus g cos theta. Why? Because this direction I'm considering as positive, then this direction will be negative. Okay, this is negative direction. Now just you put the value x equal to uxt plus half axt square, and another equation before with you is yyt plus half ayt square, where x and y is the coordinate of ball at any point P. Suppose this is the coordinate. Okay, suppose that this is time equal to t. You just put the value of x and y, and you can get all these things, because all these are the example of the motion under gravity kind of thing, like the motion with constant acceleration. So we may use the equation of motion that we have used in earlier chapter of the constant acceleration. We may use it here as well. Okay, so with this we are completing the projectile motion in inclined plane. While if you throw this ball down the hill, suppose if you are throwing the ball down the hill in this direction, then you can easily see that the component of x direction will be positive, but the component of y direction will be still negative. So you have just to fix up a origin, and according to that, you can put your signs. Okay. So with this, we are almost completing the chapter. We have almost completing the chapter. We'll be touching some numericals in our future relations, and then we'll move to some advanced topic of physics for class 11. And again, I'm just requesting you, if you have not subscribed our channel, kindly subscribe it, and you will be getting the quality material as you have kept on doing for last 2 months. And please share with your classmates as well, so that they can also get benefit from this particular free classes. And if you find that our material is adding values to us, then keep appreciating us. Or if you're finding that some of the material may need some certain improvement, and that also you may point it out. And I hope with this your fear for physics will just go away, and you will be very easily, able to clear your future examinations of engineering and medical. And with this, all the best and have a great day.